As a student, my schedule is very tight, but I'm going to make time to have these sessions once a month because it's something that, we notice that as students, people always message us, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And I also have a YouTube channel that I do this on. So I just thought, why not have a live session where we, kind of discuss face to face. Yeah. Okay. So basically the agenda will be based on the questions that you asked us about CVs, cold emails, how to scout potential schools. And then I also have a question on SOP, but we may not be able to delve too much into that because that's a full topic on its own, but I have a few snippets that I made. Okay. So basically, the first question was about a CV, right? So that's basically a document that summarizes your education, work experience, skills, achievements, qualifications, and that can be used when you're applying for jobs, internships, or academic positions. So most of the time, if you're applying for a job or internship, they may ask you for a resume. But when you're applying for grad school, it's best to use a CV. Okay. So here is just a scaffold of how my CV currently looks like. So you have your name, your address, right? So in this case, if you're applying from Ghana or applying from any part of the world, you need to put your address in there. Then you have your profile. So your profile is what you are currently doing. Currently, I'm a PhD student, so that's why my profile um is PhD candidate. So you can put your present profile and then your educational background. So if you are not yet in grad school, maybe if you have a degree or you did a diploma, whatever degree that you have, that can come next. And then research experience. So maybe not everybody may be into research, but any kind of work experience or skill experience that you have, you can put that there. So I have mine here. I don't know if you can see my mouse. So I have mine here, Georgia State University, and then the month, the year, and then so like say January 2022 to present, right, is the period which I've had research experience and then work experience. If you've gone to school to, sorry, let me use the laser pointer. Yes. So work experience, if you've gone anywhere to work for a short while, just like a line or two about the description of what you did over there. Or I learned how to, you know, I learned how to be a good sales rep, or I learned how to be a receptionist, anything that is kind of related to the course that you're applying to. And then you always have the year and then the month at the opposite end so that they can see the duration. So the most recent work experience you have, that should be what you should have as the most recent work experience. Okay. And then the next one is the core skills that you have obtained during that time or the core skills that you have obtained throughout your whole academic lifetime. So for me, because I'm a chemist, I'm chemistry, I have lab skills and lab skills. So the skills I've been able to obtain both back when I was in Ghana and when I was here, and then computer data analysis, any softwares that you've learned how to use in your field of work, and then the instruments or the machines that you use at your workplace. So all these can be related to your core skills. And then personal qualities. What qualities are very unique to you? So most of the time people will say team player, what's the other one people usually say? Um, yeah, team player and then easy to work with or self-motivated. Yeah, I think self-motivated is the most common one. But aside from the most common ones, I think they're also looking out for unique ones. So for example, proactiveness or taking initiative. Not everybody does that, right? So if there's something really unique about you, aside from the team player and then the self-motivated, what else? Is something like accountable? Are you teachable? Right? That's something you look out for. Oh, because grad school is not just like you have to know before you come. It's when you come that you get trained about it. Because what I'm even doing now, had a little bit of knowledge, but this is like advanced, right? So I'm teachable. I'm able to learn something that someone is teaching me, so that's teachable. And also hobbies outside of academics. Can you sing? Can you play an instrument? All those things, just put them all over there because they're not only looking for the academic side, but they're also seeing how best you can balance extracurricular activities with your academics, right? Because that's, I think, one of the things that stand out when people are applying for grad schools. And also papers. Maybe fortunately for you, you had papers when you were in your undergrad, or maybe you went to present a poster somewhere. You can put all of that here if you have any published papers. And then if you also have papers in progress, you can also put what you are currently working on even before your grad school application. And then, yes, posters, if you've attended any conferences related to the course that you want to apply for, you can also put it there, as well as any oral presentations that you've had. So as we are going, we are putting the month and then the year. And also if you have won any awards, in your bachelor's, maybe you won a quiz award or um, an kind of like an academic award. Maybe you were the valedictorian or um, yeah, an award that's related to your academics. And then leadership experience. Are you the president or the secretary of something back in school? Or maybe at your church, you are the leader in something. In any field that is related to you, you can put it there so long as you have led or you have done something. But this duration should be from your college. I mean, not high school or Cabot Prefect. That one is like very far from grad school. But anything from bachelor's going that you have led, feel free to put that in there for the leadership experience. And then affiliations is, okay, what kind of associations are you connected to? I think for me back in Ghana, I was part of the Ghana Biochemistry Students Association. So you can also put that there. And then currently I'm part of Ghana Students Association. So you can also add that, yes. And I think the volunteering is also one of the key important ones is they will also want to see how best you are, reaching out, participating in your community, or how best you are willing to take initiative. So it's not everybody who likes to volunteer, but once you have that section in your CV, it makes you stand out. Oh, I helped when we were having a conference at my department, and I did this and that and that. So over here, I just have on-site organizer, right? But you can have a line of what you did, or I helped to pass the mic around, or I helped to do this and that. Yeah. And then the references. So I think the references, we don't have a specific number, but I believe at most three should not be bad. So any of your professors that taught you back in your bachelor's who have a say, who can be able to kind of say something about you, kind of defend the work that you have done back in your bachelor's and be like, oh yeah, this is a good student because the student, participates in class or always comes to me for questions, something like that. Yeah. So you have your references, you can put the name, the position, the departments, and then the person's email address or the phone number as well. Yeah, so that's it for the CV. And then to the cold emails, um, for the cold emails, so the word cold, right? It means that there's no prior connection. You guys don't know each other. You just saw the email of the professor on the internet and you're like, oh, I just want to email this professor to find out if I can work with the person. That's why we call them cold emails. So first of all, they are not expecting your message. There's no established trust or familiarity. So you have to try and build a little bit of a relationship before you head out to just say, I want to join your lab. Right. So I was talking with my PI yesterday. He was like, yeah, for him, he would prefer that there be a little bit of a personal connection. And the best way you can have a personal connection with these professors is just by reading their research paper. I mean, that's the work they put out there. So you can read their research paper and be like, hey, I read your paper about how kinky is made, something like that. And I would like to, I'm interested in working with you based on that. Or like, yeah. And so if you start that week, like, oh, this student read my paper, it looks like this student is really interested. But that's also a lot of work, right? So yes, you can't do that all the time. But during my time, I sent this email out. I mean, this is just a draft, but this is like the scaffold. I was like, this is the title of the email, Graduate Students Opportunity, or you can say interested in joining your lab. Dear Dr. E, I hope this mail finds you all. My name is Jessica Kublenu from University of B. And My research was, so you are introducing yourself, right? My research was focused on investigating how Z and Y communicate for a better society. I was also a teaching assistant in MNOP class, and I'm interested in joining your research lab, which focuses on that. So all like based on what the research focus on. So you use the details from the website because you don't know them, right? So everything is based on the website, what you have found, because every school's website should have a list of the publications. So I'm interested in joining your lab, which focuses on, so you use the details from the school's website about the professor's work, and then you say, for example, in pursuing my PhD in kinky making at the University of Kofi and Ama, right? So then you say, kindly see attached my CV, my SOP, and my transcript for your review. Thank you, and looking forward to your response. So in this case, you have already kind of set the stage. You've mentioned you've introduced yourself. You said that okay, my research was based on this and this. Then you've also said you know like where you did your national service, or I was a teaching assistant or a research assistant, and I'm interested in joining your lab. You said that, and you've also mentioned that which focuses on that. So you've also mentioned what the person does, right? That can create a connection between the two of you. But here too, you can also mention that okay, which focuses on this and that which I read from your paper, right? And so I'm also interested in this research in pursuing my PhD in da. Now, the most important part is you yourself attaching your CV, your SOP, and your transcript because now you're attaching it yourself. So they don't even have to come and ask and be like, hey, send me this, send me that, because you're attaching everything yourself and then they can read it all at once and then make that decision, right? Because usually you would send these documents in your application form, but you can also do your due diligence and send it directly to the professor and be like, hey, I'm interested in joining your lab and here are my documents, you know. Yeah, and thank you and looking forward um to your response. Yes. Please let me know if I'm going fast. I sometimes talk a little bit too fast. Am I talking too fast? Hello? Hello?
No, you're okay. It's okay.
It's okay. Okay. Thank you. Yes, so like I said, in this email, you have condensed all the information that the professor needs. He doesn't have to keep coming back, oh, where is your CV? Where is your SOP? Or blah, blah, blah. He can just make a decision based off of this. And then you also write the small aspect where I mean, not necessarily read a person's research paper into detail, but you can even ask AI to summarize the paper for you. That's what my PI was telling me yesterday. It was like, just try and make an effort. So just ask AI, hey, can you summarize this professor's paper for me? What are the details of the paper, right? So if AI gives you that, you to try and go back to the paper and be like, are these statements really in the paper? Okay, then based on that argument, now you would come and say, okay, so I've also looked at your paper and you work on this and that, and it seems interesting to me, right? And make sure you are telling the truth. Make sure you are telling the truth. I know that at this point you are just, very ready to come to school. So yes, but make sure that you've seen the paper and you've at least skimmed through the paper and be like, hey, this is, I think I'm interested in this and I want to join your lab, right? Yeah. So like I said, the title of the code email should be graduate students opportunity or interest in joining your lab. So you can have this title should all be in caps locks that they see it immediately because they have a lot of emails running through their mails. And so if you make the title header caps lock, they'll be able to see it and answer you. Yeah. Okay, so the next one is I don't have too much about the SOP. Okay, so I have a video on the SOP which I would ask you guys to go watch, right? I couldn't really make too much on it because I was tight, yeah. But I have a video on that. But based on my video, I would say the SOP is basically unique story, right? Unique story about you. Some people are scared of sharing their unique story, but the thing is, the people on this side of the world, they want to hear your unique story. Like, why are you doing this research? I mean, maybe not everybody may have that, adventurous story. Oh my, somebody I know passed away because of cancer. That's why I'm researching on cancer, right? That's a nice story, but I mean, not a nice story in that sense, but that's a story. But some people may have sad stories. I think that's what I want to say. Sad stories that you want to research on what you are researching. Thank you. So some people may have sad stories. Even if you don't have a sad, even if your story is a happy story, share it because that is what makes your SOP stand out is your uniqueness, right? So don't just talk about how skilled you are in this. Start from somewhere that made you find interest. Okay, I would briefly share my SOP and after I talk about this. So unique story, your past skills and experiences, and then this part is where lots of people miss out on at least three professors that you want to work with should be in your SOP. You should go to the website and maybe Professor Jessica, Professor Jude, Professor Isaac, Professor Gabriel. I want to work with these three people. Then you highlight everything is on the school's website. You highlight, oh, because this person works on this and this, and I've read their paper and it's very interesting for me. So, like I said, you have to be specific and you have to hand out your SOP to people to read like 1,000 times. I remember my SOP. I can't even count how many people read my SOP. Sometimes, like you're even shy to share it because it's like it's unique to you, but you have to be willing to give out your SOP to people to read and give you useful feedback. So read, read, read. And now you guys, we have AI. I think back in my time, I mean, I'm not that old, but when I was applying, there was no AI to help me write my SOP. Like now you can even type to AI, give AI your SOP and be like, hey, Gemini or ChatGPT, kindly read through my SOP, give me tips, all of that. It's so fast. Yeah. So let me quickly share my SOP. I mean, just show you my SOP, what I wrote. Okay. Okay, so can you see my screen still? Can you see
Yes,
my
Jessica.
okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So here is my SOP, right? Everything is one page. Sorry, I mean 1.25. 1.25, yes. You don't want to write too much because they don't have time. We have thousands of applications and they are trying to run through the applications. So here's my SOP. My first paragraph, I'm talking about my background, right? I mean, I had a background in cancer research in University of Ghana. So my first paragraph is I'm always curious to find out about human body and organisms, and I've always had these questions in my mind. Right now, my mother is a nurse, and she's always going to the field. So whenever she's going to the field work, I tag along, and then I see how things are done in public health. So I was like, oh, this drove my passion for research. That's my unique story right there. And then the second paragraph is okay, so they were doing cancer awareness in school, and then um at a point in my university degree, that's like there were 300 or so, I was told, I mean, I went to the hospital and they told me that I have a lump. I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared. That's why I said, I wrote it somewhere here. I was like, I was so scared when I heard that because once you hear lump, the next thing is cancer. So then after that, my mom was like, okay, we'll go back to the hospital like in 1 month or like at the end of the semester so I can go for the surgery. So we went back to the hospital and they checked again. They were like, it's not there. And I was like, hey, these people, are they playing with my life or what? So then they explained it that it's due to hormonal it's like a hormonal balance. Maybe sometimes it can just appear and disappear. So it's not cancerous. So I should go back to school. So that's my unique story right there. So I tie that in the second paragraph. And then the third paragraph is my technicalities, right? Who I am, what I did. I was a research assistant, teaching assistant. What did I do? Oh, helped the teachers to teach in biochemistry department at WAGBIB, and then I also did some internship. I learned how to do DNA extraction, blah blah blah, all those scientific stuff. I don't want to go too much into detail. And then the fourth paragraph, I talk about my outreaches, the opportunities that I had. So because I was also a TA, there was a time where they did breast cancer awareness. We went out. I assisted in taking the information of the people in the communities. We did a free screening, free breast cancer screening. And then we also partnered with Accra Hope projects that helps with, facial deformity. So all these are outreaches, right? So just think, okay, do I have any point in my life where maybe I helped or maybe I carry tally cards around to go for, information from people about a specific disease. Maybe you are not in how should I say, you are not in my field, but in your field, there could be a time where you have gone out for an outreach, right? So you can tie that in. And then now I go into what I want from this application. So now I say, okay, all my experiences excited me to continue to pursue cancer research, right? I think this SOP was for a different school. Yes, this SOP was not for my current school, but it was for a different school. And the professor also worked on cancer cells. He also worked on cancer cells. But I used the same story for all my applications, even if the courses were different. So then I went deeper. I said, okay, these experiences excited my pursuing for cancer research, and thus I am convinced, right? So you have to make a statement in your SOP where you say, based on this, I am convinced that a PhD is my next step in realizing my passion. Then here is the statement I made. I said, thus I, Jessica Era Mkoblin, right to apply for a PhD degree in so and so university. Then this is the same paragraph. I'm saying that due to the schools, I'm praising the school. I'm like, oh, the school has unflinching capabilities in, cancer research, and I believe the school is the best for me. And then this paragraph is where I expand on the school's niceness. It has ethnic diversity, gender balance. All these are from the school's website. They are on the website, all the good things that the school is known about because they are reading your SOP and they also want to see how well you know their school and how well you believe that their school is the best fit for you. So then I make statements like this school is one of the fastest growing research portfolio in the US. I'm particularly drawn to it because of strong interest in health, natural sciences, and yeah, so that's the paragraph where I praise the school. And then the last paragraph is where I mentioned, I think one professor or two. I mentioned one, yeah. But ideally, you can mention 2 to 3 professors. So then I say I have read about this Professor Jessica's, research on blah blah blah, and it has increased my excitement. Right? They should be able to feel your excitement from the SOP. It shouldn't be all so technical and robotic. They should be able to feel your excitement, feel your enthusiasm that, hey, this girl really wants this. This girl really wants this school or this course, right? So then I end with, I am confident that I will be a significant addition to the school's department with a real potential to tackling this challenge, of cancer head on. So then your last statement should be a closing statement that tells the school that you are not just coming to the school, but you're actually going to make a change and you're going to be a great addition to the school. Okay, so that's one of my SOPs for one of my schools. Now the thing is, because you're also applying to a lot of schools, um you want to draft, like you want to keep changing the name of the professors and where you are praising the school. But for the unique story, that one you should keep it constant, right? The unique story about you and why you got interested in research, you should keep it constant. I mean, right now I'm not working on cancer, but I believe the SOP I used for this school, I still spoke about my background with cancer, but then I'm saying that okay, I'm interested in biochemistry. Biochemistry is so huge. There are lots of topics. Then I fix on the topic that my professor is currently working on, and I say, okay, I'm also interested to find out how this topic, can help advance the knowledge of science in general. Yeah. So that's it for the SOP. Yeah, because there are lots of questions. We are just trying to skim through them topic by topic. Okay. So that's it for the SOP. Now the thing is feedbacks. You're not always going to get positive feedbacks for your you're not always going to get positive feedbacks. So one thing that I always tell people is feel free to email. Like I'm from Ghana, okay? In Ghana, I think as at the time, email was not really a big deal. Like we don't really email each other, maybe call or you go to the office, but email is a very, 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 very big deal in the US. Like people email each other all the time. So if you are in Ghana, right, you want an information about your school. I may not have that information. Maybe I'm not in your school. My friends may not have that information. They're not in your school, but the website has emails of so many people, grad director, this director, all those people. Feel free to email them and be like, hey, I'm looking for information on this, that. Can you kindly assist me? If they are not the one in charge of that info, they will forward you to another person. So don't feel shy to email. And the thing is, because of the time difference, you'll be thinking, oh, let me wait in the evening, I'll email. Just email anytime. And whenever they are available, they will see your email and respond to it. Okay. So feedbacks, you may not always get positive feedback. This is one of some of the feedbacks I got from some of the schools I email, right? They will tell you, okay, your background doesn't fit my lab, right? And somebody also said, hey, I'm afraid I don't have any openings that fit your skill set. Best of luck. And that's it. You know, you may not always get positive. I think I had all the emails that I sent, only two professors said they can work with me. And it's even one of the professors, it was later on that I came back to the school and I noticed that the professor has even left the school. So it's the other one that I am now in the lab for. So I can't remember how many emails but I still have the old thread, but I sent so many emails out. Okay. So it's a lot of work and it's time consuming. You are going to get no's, you are going to get, hey, you can't work with me. And it's okay because you are not fit for every, lab, right? And then here's also one of them. I don't know who I mailed at this point. I was like, they were like, hello, we are not taking any more applicants. However, we encourage you to keep applying and we do not require the GRE as well. Our deadline every year is January 1st for the following fall. Due to how our program runs, we cannot take mid-year applicants again. We have already invited candidates whom are being interviewed. You see how detailed the mail is, right? Said, I apologize. We have no flexibility this year in the deadline. I think probably I was trying to find out if, I can still apply, even though I knew the deadline was passed, right? But that way, the more you mail, the more you get the connection with them. At least your name is in their head. And so even if they didn't take your application this year, next year when you apply, they see your name in the email again and you're like, hey, is it open? I'm applying now. Is GRE available? Like ask them any question you want because the fact that one department is allowing GRE doesn't mean that other departments is because I think the time I was coming, GRE was a must for chemistry department. And then the following year they took it off. So now GRE is not required. So if you have questions like that, feel free to send them emails and ask, please, is GRE required or should I prepare for it? Blah blah blah. They will answer you in the best way possible. Okay. And then also the potential list of schools. I remember for my time, I was very, very fortunate. I had wonderful people in the whole like department, and some of them have already taken the lead and gone outside. So I spoke to one person, I was like, hey, I don't even know where to start from, right? I don't know. I don't know what to do. Just guide me. And then they're like, okay. I made a list of, I think, 10 schools that I knew that all my seniors were in. That was what I did because I felt like I don't know if I can go to a school that I don't know anybody, right? I mean, some people are pace setters, that's fine, but I was like, I need to at least know someone because also, your parents are involved. You tell your parents you are going somewhere, you're like, hey, you don't know anybody and you are going there, all of that. So I made a list of schools, all the schools I listed, I knew at least one of my TAs or somebody knew somebody in that school. Okay. And then all of them were public schools. So you go to the website, you see maybe Georgia State University or North Dakota State University. Those are public schools, right? I don't think I applied to a private school because private school you have to pay for your own school fees and all of that. But I think Jude would throw more light on that later on. So yeah, grad school, graduate assistantship, that's like TA or research assistant. So with that one, you are working for the school and they are paying you. So in that case, you're not paying for school fees, right? So anytime I was applying to the list of schools I made, I would message whoever knew somebody there. I would take the number and be like, hey, I'm applying to your school. If I have any questions, I'll ask you. And definitely, I was asking them, but the person I was asking to was also a student. I was like, things have changed in a time, so I should mail. That's when I even knew that I could email people. So then I didn't have to worry them too much. But if there was any like special case that I couldn't answer, I would still ask the person. And then the deadlines are so important. You have to check the priority deadlines and the late deadlines. I think for me, I applied even after the priority deadline, right? We all know about first December deadline. It's not always, I mean, that's the best time to apply. But I applied very late because I don't even know how that happened. But yeah, that's a whole story on its own. And then the course that you want to do, most of the questions were like, I don't even know what course to do. That's fine, right? So go to the school's website. It's so time consuming. Like literally, this can take either three months to 2 years. I think mine took like maybe 1.5 years or 2 years. I can't remember. But it's time consuming. You have to have a book. I had a book just dedicated for grad school applications. Everything I was doing, I will write it in that book. So you have to have a book dedicated to that you list the courses that you want to do from that school. And then the acceptance rates. It's not every school that has high acceptance rates. So you have to go online and check the person's acceptance rates for that school over the years, how do they accept students? Is it, very, very low or very high acceptance rate? And then this one, recommendation letters. I also have a video about this. Request recommendation letters at least 6 months. This is the part that our professors don't like at all. Like we'll come to them last minute and we'll be asking for recommendation letters. And we expect them to, bring it out immediately. That's not going to happen because they are also very, very, busy. So for me, my professors always said I should come with my list. They will tell me to come with this list that I've shown you guys. Come with this list, and then they will give me the recommendation letters that are on the list, like for the schools on that list. Exactly. So I would say ask for your letters at least 6 months before. Even if you don't know the school you're applying for, just talk to your teacher and be like, hey, professor, I may be applying for schools very soon. Can I come to you for recommendations so that they will keep you in their mind that, oh, Jessica will be coming very soon, though she's not sure yet. I will add her to my list because I had one professor back in my school who does that. She will write names of the students that are coming to her for recommendation letter so that she can prepare ahead of time, right? So please don't wait till you know everything about your school, but try to start getting the information ahead of time. Okay, I don't know if that's all the slides I have. Okay, so yes, application fee waiver. This is the last slide I made, yeah. Application fee waiver. The first time I heard about this, I was like, hey, so these people, they have waivers. Okay. I think I had about 3 or 4 waivers that I used for my application. I don't even know how that happened, but I had waivers. So the most important thing is ask, 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 ask. In this part of the world, you have to ask. You have to open your mouth and ask. You have to send emails and ask. This is an email that I sent. The date is here, as you can see. March 2021. Dear Joyce King, thank you once again for the information. I wish to request for an application fee waiver. I will not be able to pay the application fee of $50 due to some financial constraints. I will appreciate if you consider my humble request to permit me this waiver to apply for Masters in Biology at your esteemed university. Thank you. Best regards. That's all you need to like. Just draft this nice email, send them that please, I can't afford this. Is there a way that I can get my fee waived? Do you know the response to this was I couldn't pull it up before this meeting, but she sent me a link. She said, oh, there are info sessions that the school does, and that if you join that info session, you would have a fee waiver. So, like I said, I had about 3 fee waivers, and I got all those waivers because I joined info session. Info session is like what we are doing right now, but the school will organize that and then have a session with, people that want to apply. So that's how I got my fee waivers. So yes, fee waivers are something that schools do. and you can ask. You don't have to pay. These things are very expensive, and you already have visa stuff to think about. So application fees is something that you can ask for a waiver and then try. I think the only one I paid for only one. That one is like the deadline was like the next week, and I really wanted to apply to that school. So I was like, that was the only one I paid. The rest, everything, every info session that I joined, I got an automatic waiver. So just send an email to, you go to the school's website and then you see their emails down there. If they are the ones not in charge, like I said, they will forward you to someone who is in charge of fee waivers, and then the person can direct you on how to do that. Okay. So yes, I think I'm done talking. I would stop here and then allow my guest Jude to talk. So these are the questions you guys asked us. There are lots of questions. And I made the slides based on some of the questions, but we may not be able to answer all, but I'll allow Jude to talk. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm done. Jude, hello. Yes, so we'll be waiting for Jude to answer our questions. But thank you guys for filling the forms, like I said earlier. So here are the questions you guys asked us, and Jude would help us answer some of them. Yeah. Okay, whilst we are waiting, I think
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Hello, sorry for the um delay. I was just trying to figure out some things and my laptop decided to go on autopilot. But yeah, thank you so much, Jessica. Um I don't know. So if people have questions here on the call too, you can just feel free to put them in the chat. But we'll go through the questions that are shared on the screen. So Jessica, do you want us to go from like the first question you have here, like how to get a scholarship, or how do you want us to go about it?
I think we can go with the easiest easiest questions first. Yeah,
Okay,
the ones you feel are easy for you. Yeah.
okay. Um, okay, let's see. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I guess I'll just go from the top. How to get a full scholarship, right? I think Jessica has already talked a bit about this. It's about your profile. It's a complete package. It's not just one thing. So your academic credentials, were you in first class or in second class, all of these things matter in the grand scheme of things. So that's the first thing. Make sure you have good grades. Second thing, then you make sure that write a good SOP and you have a good CV. These are important. If you email a professor and the professor says apply and stuff and you submit a poor SOP and a poor CV, you are most likely not going to go through the school's screening or application review system. So have good grades, have good application material, CV, SOP. She talked about recommendation letters is very important. And then, so this is just normal, like let's assume you are just applying to any school, right? You do that. But what would improve your chances now is what sending cold emails. So as she said, for me it's one of like the most important um clear cut ways of getting a full scholarship. So email some professors you're interested to work with and all of that. Now we can talk about many other things like applying to other external scholarships or other scholarships in the school, because these the reason why I'm mentioning this way is because you said you want full scholarship. So something like the MasterCard, Erasmus Mundus, McCormack Bain is full scholarship. You already know that. So you'll go and look for such opportunities and apply in addition to the other things you're doing. So that's how I'll answer the question. It's we can have a whole webinar on just this question, so I wouldn't go too far with it. But this is a general overview for you. Secondly, visa interview tips. Visa interview tips, be confident. That's the most important. First thing, be confident. In every interview, if you go there and you can't really speak or defend why you are there, it's hard for you to get it. So, first tip for me, be confident, dress very well, be presentable. But more importantly, then know exactly what you are talking about, right? If you go to a visa interview and they say, okay, why did you apply to this school? And you can't really say it again, that affects your chances. I would say one of the key determinants of getting your visa is your funding. So that's an important part of it. If you have very good funding, a full funding is the best case scenario. But if you don't get full funding, you get some funding 75%, 50%, um, even below, then you should know how to explain how you are going to cover the deficit. That's always important. So I have learned that if you go to a visa interview, the key things the viewer is looking for are your purpose for traveling. Okay, you are going to study. One, can you defend that? Two, do you have any home ties? Is there anything that would keep you from staying in the US when you finish? Right? So you have to show this by saying clearly what you hope to gain from the school and what you plan to do with that when you return to your home country. As well as just mention, okay, you have family and all of those things in Ghana. And then your financial situation. Are you going to be a burden to the US system or you're actually going to enhance the US system? So these are the key things you need to defend when you go for your interview. What are the critical angles that application evaluators considered most important? I think it's just similar to what I said in how to get a full scholarship. So your academics is very important. Recommendation letters, what your professors say about you. Most schools evaluators would rank that higher than what you say about yourself in your SOP. Then they also look for your research experience. Do you have the skills and the knowledge to do what you say you're going to do? That kind of thing. So these are just some of them. There are more, and we can have more conversations about this. But I want to go quickly to make sure I address all the questions we have. How to get application fee waiver for funding multi-stuff. I think Jessica addressed some of these things. Application fee waiver, emailing coordinators. There's other things they will say if you're part of some professional organizations like NSB, National Society of Black Engineers, Black in AI, and all of those things, you can get waivers. This is not something that applies to all schools or even all departments. So you have to do your own research. Go to the school's website. If they say, okay, if you are a member of NSB, you get a waiver, then join NSB. It's easy to join NSB or some of these other professional organizations, even online. I was a member of NSB in school, but when it came to the time for me to apply, I didn't have my NSB ID card with me, so I applied online. You just have to show proof of like the acceptance email and some things, and then they will give you waiver. And there are also many schools that waive it. The other thing is, if you apply early during the cycle, there's always a lot of what they call open houses and free application week and all of these things. Once you start early, you have access to all of these. How to write good SOPCV, I think we've talked about it. How to code email, I think Jessica's talked about it. Identification of potential schools. This is also a bit harder to talk about because it's very different for different fields and different people. But I always recommend you should target the schools that you can get the funding. Right, that's the most important thing. Now, most people default to the big schools because yes, most of the big schools can guarantee you funding because yeah, like if Harvard admits you and things, the probability that they are going to pay is very high, right? And so that is one way. But sometimes just within your own network and stuff like that, like someone, like your pastor, or someone who's in a particular school, they are funded, or if you don't know, ask them. It's an indication that okay, maybe this school funds my program. Because it's not about just the school, it's about your program. Do they fund your program? Do they have good resources for your program? Um, and yeah, there are many other organizations and people that have put together databases through years of experience on which schools fund which programs more and all those things. Now it's a bit dicey because of all the administrative bottlenecks, especially in the US, with regard to funding. But there are many things like this on social media. I follow Scholarships Cafe, and sometimes they post about these kind of things. They say, okay, maybe these schools fund law very well, that kind of thing. Codon, we also do that. We have our own database, and we keep building it. So to find the potential schools, I would say first think about your experience, what your interests are, and then based on that, you can use like the ranking websites and stuff. And I would always say that try to apply to some top schools, some middle tier schools, and some low tier schools. And then particularly target the funding. Now, as we said, there's no one direct source of funding. Funding can come from an advisor, it can come from a department, it can come from a fellowship. So then you have to shoot all the shots, right? So if you take a particular school, you are going to shoot from all these three angles. You are going to email professors so that you can get funding from your professors. You are going to look for other opportunities the school has. Maybe they have graduate assistantships and others which you need to apply to. You are going to do those ones too. And then if they have fellowships and scholarships, you are also going to apply to those. So all those things would help, but you have to sit down and do the research for first knowing what you are interested in, and then some of all these other tips I've shared. Why are there limited scholarships to support Ghanaian graduate students to further their studies? I'm not sure the angle this person is coming from. It can be interpreted in many ways. It can be interpreted in terms of why are there limited funding opportunities from the country, from Ghana itself to support students. You could read it like that. You could also read it that, okay, this is general. Why are there limited opportunities everywhere? I would say that in both cases, right, you just learn that in this world, really no one owes you anything, right? Your country, even though you are from your country, they don't owe you the scholarship. We wish that the system was working, and if you got up today, a very brilliant person, you go and you say, okay, I want to get fund scholarship to go to the US, they'll give you. It's not like that. Now it's same thing with like schools and stuff. They don't owe you a scholarship, right? So you have to learn how you can make yourself valuable so you can gain these opportunities, right? And it comes from going out there, gaining the knowledge by attending a webinar like this, attending other events and things that would build the knowledge you already have about the process, and then building your profile. As I said, your academic profile, your credentials, your academic ranking, um, your research experiences, your professional experiences, your volunteer experiences, so that now when you apply for a scholarship, you are the kind of candidate they are looking for. So I'm not going to focus on why is it that there are not these opportunities, because they are. It depends on who you ask. If you ask the president of Ghana's son, how are they, or why are there limited scholarships? You tell that, oh, but there are scholarships, right? And if you go and ask someone, or let's say the vice provost of MIT or Yale or Oxford, they will tell you that there are scholarships, right? But you have to build your profile in such a way that even if you're applying for a scholarship and they're accepting only one person in the world, then it should be you, right? And that takes a lot of hard work. But that is the price most of us had to pay to get to where we are. And so that's, if you want to do grad school, if you want to reach some of these heights, this is the kind of mindset you should have. This is the kind of mindset you should have. Um, how to secure a fully funded master's in engineering. I think we've talked about this a bit. How to write a comprehensive statement of purpose. I think we've talked about this a bit. Okay, are there other questions? I've been given a full tuition waiver plus $500 stipend, which is not enough. I want to know if you're getting a campus job supplement this since the stipend come at graduate assistantship job for 8 hours a week. This is school dependent. So this is going to be very hard to answer. The person has to tell us which school and others. I would say your best bet is talking to someone in the school you are in. Because when you talk to someone in the school you are in, they are there and they tell you. I can tell you about what's happening in my school, but that doesn't necessarily apply, right? And this is actually a good question that you can ask even the program coordinator. You can email them and say, oh, program coordinator, this is like, I have this funding, $500 stipend. It is not really enough. But one thing I would recommend, and I always say, is that so far as your funding on your I-20 is sufficient enough for you to get a visa. And this is actually a very subjective statement because it only takes an experienced eye to be able to tell you that. But if the funding is sufficient enough for you to get a visa, I always recommend come to the US or come to whichever country you are going to, and you will find the opportunities. As I said, if you build your mindset that you are going to be the top 1% in everything you do, and you're going to apply yourself and put in the hard work and be resourceful and ask for help from different sources, you will not fail. There's no way you're going to fail. You would work hard, you will pursue opportunities, opportunities will find you, and you make it. Even if you survive on $500 stipend for a few months. I know a lot of people who came in this way, and they came in and they fought because okay, you're living on a $500 stipend. It might not even be able to take care of your rent. So you have to work hard. You have to talk to people and ask for other opportunities. But that is only to the people in the school who know the situation, right? So this is a very subjective question. We'll not be able to answer it to the best of your expectations, but that's the idea. Uh, why do I get so many rejections? I think we've given some indication to this. It could be any part of your application materials, and I would say that one of the key things I have seen challenges with African students in general is just people not knowing how to sell themselves, right? So you have the profile, you were first class, you could have been valedictorian or one of the best students in your class, you have research experience, you have this, but how to appeal to the eyes of the people reviewing the applications is lacking. And that's where we come in and we do all of these things. We do mentorship, we talk, and we try to help. Jessica has a YouTube account, and if you go there, you would learn all of these things. So I would say if you know that your profile is good, as I am saying, you should really work on how to sell yourself. Join some mentorship programs, read wide, listen to. I think now with AI, maybe I don't know, it might be better, but also the reviewers have AI. And so if they detect that you use AI and things, it just makes it more difficult. But still, nothing beats a good story, nothing beats you being able to sell yourself well. So I'll say if you're getting rejections, it's either in your profile itself or it is in how you are selling yourself. How do you secure assistantships without any experience? Um, I would say go and get the experience, right? And again, now with AI, it's not difficult to get experience. Um, it's not about, so sometimes when people say experience, it's not about, oh, I've done this project and I've published this paper and all, but you should be doing something. So if you are here and you know that, oh, I don't have the experience, then you have solved half of your problem. You should then be taking steps to do something, to be doing something so that you can show that as your experience. Because most assistantships need you to be able to do something. I don't know about like other places and all, but the assistantships I know about, some assistantships, because once are going for an assistantship, whether it's research assistantship or even administrative assistantship, you need to be resourceful. You need to be someone who is able to create a Word document, make flyers, do all these small things. And most assistantships, when they advertise, they say the skills they are looking for. So if you look at it, you don't have the skills, at least you should have something. Or if you don't have anything, go and learn something, maybe the easiest thing on the list, so that you can talk about it. Yep. So Jessica, I just saw we crossed the time a bit. Do you want us to still finish? I have
Yeah.
some time,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Fine. Thank you.
Yeah. So if you can please scroll down. Okay, this one says, where do I begin? That's a big question.
There's another question before that.
Oh, okay. I applied last year, but because of funding, I deferred. I would like to apply again, but currently having cold feet to whether to do it or not because last year I didn't get it. Oh yeah, don't worry at all. See, this is the experience of many people, and I would say one of the biggest takeaways, right? One of the biggest skills you can learn from all this experience is resilience, the never give up mentality, right? Many people have tried and failed in life, from Thomas Edison to who, even if we use an example, and this might not be a great example, but the former president of Ghana, right, President Nana Akufo-Addo, people have failed a lot before they finally succeeded, right? And if you are going to be held down by your failures, you're not going to make progress. Time keeps moving, whether you do anything or not. So you eventually realize that you have wasted time. And as Jessica said, her process took a while. My process took a while. I got rejected many times, and I felt bad too. I slept, I woke up, and I did it again, right? And so it is okay to feel, but that means you have high expectations for yourself. You wish you could do better, but then don't just lie down, cry every day, and say, "I wish it was better," without actually applying yourself. So I always say that you rise up again, and then you ask yourself, what can I do better, or what went wrong in the other in the other cycle, right? In the previous cycle, how can I do better? Maybe I applied late. And I always recommend this thing is when my own experience. My time, we KNUST, we graduated in November, and I was learning to write the GRE. It's actually a long process, but yeah, I thought that you can only apply if you have the GRE. So I was only just learning for the GRE, and then someone promised me they'll pay for me to write the GRE. And then when I was ready, early December, we didn't hear from the person again. And I just got discouraged, and I thought that, oh, I can't apply without a GRE. I was just there until I met someone on LinkedIn. Actually, this person reached out to me. Again, another long story. I said they'll help me with the applications. And then they said, oh, there are schools that actually don't require the GRE. And we started to talk about all these things. And then we applied to schools. But I submitted my first application on June 6th and my last application on January 6th and my last application on January 21st. But that is late. So if you are submitting your applications, your first applications in January, you are late. So one of the things that, yeah, people don't know, schools do this review on a rolling basis, or you miss their priority deadline, and those priority deadlines are for the limited scholarships that are available. So the best thing you can do for yourself is start early. And if you start early, you have good materials. Let's say you start right now in June and you apply yourself. You don't do lazy, like, oh, the deadline is in January, so today I'll write one word, tomorrow I'll write one word. You have to apply yourself. And then by January, you are done. Like even in December, you are finished with all your applications and you're sitting down. Seek for all the mentorship opportunities, seek for all the review opportunities now. And by November, you are done with your applications. You are okay, and then you have a higher chance. So this is one example. I'm talking just about how early you are applying, but the other things still count. Oh, maybe my CV was 3 pages, and now I have to do a 2 page CV or a 1 page CV, or my SOP was too long, or I didn't sell myself well. So you have to be self-critical, and you can seek for people, be very open with them. Most people will reach out to me on LinkedIn and say, "Oh, I want help with my application." But that's very broad statement, right? And I can decide, okay, this is where I want to start with you, but I don't have context. So when you meet someone and you're asking for help, you have to be very specific and straight to the point and say, "Oh, I've applied before. I did this. I even had this admission. I deferred it. I want to go again. Can you kindly go through my applications and tell me maybe where you think I can improve?" You see, then it is easier for someone to help you. So this is just an example, but I would say don't give up, right? Don't give up. Up the deferred school, you can look for scholarships there available. You can reach out to the program coordinator. But for even the other schools, you can, and I highly recommend applying to other schools and applying early because those are going to boost your chances. Where do I begin? Big question, big question. Um, it's baked into all the answers I've said so far. It's baked into self reflection. I always say that's the first place to start. Why do you want to do grad school? Right? Why is it because everyone is traveling, so you want to travel, or you want to do research, or you want to get a better credential that could better your life? Right? And wanting to travel is not a bad reason, but it shouldn't be your only reason, right? So I always say self-reflection. And one time I tried to build a tool, a self-reflection tool, like a form that would ask you certain questions that will help you get to that answer. But I've actually not, I think I used it with one or two people and I haven't gone back to it. But you should ask yourself some kind of questions that would probe. And once you, because many people don't even know what they want to do. Okay, I want to do masters, but they don't know which particular area they want to do. Let's say, okay, you did your undergrad in biochemistry. Which area of biochemistry do you want to focus on? And once you don't clarify these things in your head, it shows in your application, your essays will become very shallow. And then it would be like 80% of the other people who are right. But you have to be 1%. You have to be the top 1%. You have to be different. You have to be unique. So it would reflect in how you write. So I would say do that self-reflection, and then once you identify why you want to travel, because when people reach out to me and say, "Oh, I want to do grad school, I need your help," I ask them this question: "Tell me about your academic background. Why do you want to do this and all?" So once you identify those things for yourself, then you reach out to people, or then you start to explore opportunities, like go on X, follow all these academic Twitter people, scholarships cafe, all those people, and then you would surround yourself and your social media environment with only information that takes you closer to this dream. And then that motivates you. Then you join communities like Codon and all these other communities where you will be with like-minded people who are all applying, who are all doing this thing, and you go from there. Then go and subscribe to Jessica's YouTube channel, listen to her, watch her videos, join all these sessions, and then you will slowly be getting there, be building the momentum. Is it possible to apply for a direct PhD? Oh yes, it is. I'm doing my PhD from a direct undergrad, so many people do that. How can I write a motivation letter? This is also a big question, but similar to an SOP. And I always say, always default back to the prompt or what specifically the school is asking. A motivation letter from Harvard or to Harvard might be different from a motivation letter to Oxford because they might be asking for specific things. So you always have to read exactly what the school is asking for, and you write it like that. But it's not too different from an SOP. But you have to default to the prompt, what exactly they're asking for. Scholarships and assistantship inquiries. I think I've talked about this. How do I get waivers as I'm applying to school so that I don't end up overspending applications? As I mentioned, and Jessica also mentioned, email the coordinators, join all these professional organizations that schools give you a waiver for if you are part of them. But apply early. The most important thing is apply early. There's many benefits in applying early because when you apply early, like August, September, most of these schools are looking for you. They are literally begging you to come. So they will be holding all these events and things. If you email, imagine if you were a program coordinator and a student emails you in August, even before the cycle opens, because most schools will open in September. A student emails in August and says, "Oh, I am Jessica. I completed undergrad from University of Ghana. I was valedictorian, blah blah blah. And I really want to apply to this school, but I don't have money. Can you please give me a waiver?" In August, and compare that same person emailing you, the deadline is January 15th, they email you on January 12th and say, "Oh, I'm Jessica, I'm valedictorian, can you please give me a waiver?" Who would you more likely give a waiver to? You would give it to the person who applied earlier because earlier too shows that the person is clear on their goals and they are very proactive. Secondly, there's no pressure on you, the program coordinator. Sometimes you have to put yourself in their shoes. There's no pressure on you, the program coordinator, in August, but there's a lot of pressure on you in January by the deadline because many other people who waited till last minute are now emailing them too, and they may not even reply you. So these are some of the things, and I think I've been able to exhaust all the questions, hopefully. And thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Jude. Looks like there's a question in the chat. Can someone still get a scholarship if they don't have good grades?
Of course, of course. Now, if you say they don't have good grades, that's also very subjective. That could mean many things. But yes, there's many different ways, and that's why we say it's a profile. They review the applications on a holistic basis. It's not just one thing. It's not just, oh, we are looking at your CWA or your GPA, right? So
Yeah.
if you know your grades are not good, what else do you have? Imagine, again, put yourself in the program coordinator shoes or those reviewing the application. Why should I pick you and not a first class student, right? You need to offer value. What do you bring to the table, right? Maybe you are someone who is just very industrious and you are doing a lot of entrepreneurial stuff. You have a company or you have a startup or you even founded some organization and things, and you have a good track record for that. I have one of the guys in Codon. The guy's an influencer. Like, he has 100,000 followers on X, and he
Oh, wow.
posts about agriculture and stuff like that. He may not have the best of grades, but that's what he has, and he has shown it. He has the record. If they go on X, they will find him. They will see the things he's been posting about, and it's not like he's posting about irrelevant things. He's passionate about the field. He talks about practical things. How do you take the agricultural knowledge and concepts they learn in school and turn them into money, right? And so that guy got a lot of offers for agripreneurship and agricultural master's programs in the US. So these are the things. Other things you can do, like people recommend, you can write the standardized test, you can write the GRE, you can write the IELTS, you can write the TOEFL. Like, all those things show that there's something more to you beyond just your grades. And then in your essays, you can explain clearly that that was a phase of your life where things didn't really work out, but A, B, C, D make you a good fit and the best fit to actually be in the program. That's how I'll conclude.
Okay.
Thanks.
Last one. If a professor accepts you and you're applying to the school, should you state that in your SOP?
Yes, but I will say there's a way to go about it.
Okay, okay.
And sometimes I always say that you should ask the professor if you should mention them in your SOP, because even though it kind of sounds self-explanatory or intuitive that, oh, if they said you should apply, then you should mention them. Some professors actually don't like that, from my experience, because every school has a way they review applications. Some do direct admit into a lab, and others do more. You are admitted to the department, and yeah, you eventually do other things, rotation or other things, and then you get to a lab. So if the school is doing like a department admit thing, and you say, oh, you have talked with this professor, blah blah blah, sometimes it doesn't give a good impression on the professor. So first of all, ask them if you have finished and they have accepted. You just ask the professor, oh, can I mention your name in my SOP that I'm interested in working with you, and we've had a conversation. Fine. Now, there's beyond that, whether you even ask them or not, I would not just write explicitly in my SOP that, oh, I've talked to this professor and they said I will join their lab. You have to, like Jessica said, if you mention three professors, even if you have talked to one professor and they said you should come, still mention more than one professor. Mention like three professors, but the one you talked with should be number one, should be the first person you talk about, and say, oh, I'm excited to join this school, so that I will be able to work with this professor. I'm excited about their work, and I have had the privilege to be in contact with him about my interests, and he has encouraged me to apply. This is very diplomatic, professional, and doesn't put you or the professor in trouble. So that's how I'll go about it.
That's so good. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for your questions and for joining. I've put the links to my YouTube channel, WhatsApp group. So we plan on having this once a month. But I guess, if you join the WhatsApp group, maybe once a week, I can post some document scaffolds that you can use to start working on your respective documents. Yes. Thank you so much. And I think that's all for today. I'd like to shout out Jude. Thank you so much for taking time off your busy schedule. Also like to shout out Gabriel for joining. Gabriel, my love me, thank you for joining. And then Jawalali, thank you also for joining and your support. Yeah, thank you all so much for joining. And that's all for today. Jude, do you have any last words?
Yes, I would just like to say thank you again for the opportunity. It's hard, to do research, to live your PhD life and do these things in addition to many of the other things you do. And it's always around this time in the year when we are in between cycles, and I am torn in my mind as to whether I still want to do grad school support stuff or not, because we are not actively doing anything. I'm not reviewing applications or anything. So it's fine, but we still see that there's a lot of ignorance, for lack of a better word, on the process, and that negatively affects many people. Like, as I said, many people have very good profiles. They don't know how to sell it, or they're applying it wrongly, and all of these things. Are like, okay, I wish I could help out, right? But we are very bandwidth limited, and that's why it would help a lot when people are more empathetic and look from the other side, right? Like, I had mentees who came here and things happened, and now they would say, oh, they are busy, or this thing and this thing. And I would say, so you guys did not see or realize that we were busy, or we had more things to think about when we were doing what we were doing, right? Like when we were helping you out, but now you see it. So my point is, when someone is helping you, you have to be very appreciative of the time and effort the person is spending, because they could be doing a million and one things, And as I said, like, they don't owe you that favor, right? They are mostly doing it out of their own benevolence. And that's why many people, there are agencies, consults, and others where you pay to get access to things like this, right? But it's free of charge. You are talking about it. And I, for one, when I started thinking about grad school, I was joining many of these sessions to just learn and get different ideas, different perspectives before I finally applied, and it helped out a lot. So when you reach out to people, whether it's on LinkedIn, you reach out to people, you always understand that people have a lot going on, especially grad students. Some people, their professors are on their necks, even during the weekend, to do stuff for them, but we make the time. And I would say it's not just about, oh, every time say, oh, thank you for helping out, or just showing that you're appreciative, but also show it in the effort you're putting in, the proactiveness. Because believe you me, if I have a mentee who's doing really well and are applying themselves, I would be more committed to helping them out, right? But if I'm trying to help you and you are not pulling your weight, and it makes it very difficult, right? Then I am engulfed in more of my business, and I can even forget that I had someone that I was helping out. So for most of you coming through the system, I would say understand this and try to put yourself in the shoes of anyone you are seeking help from. It's like, if I were this person, how would I want to be interacted with, right? And it's always also cool because for me personally, I get very busy and I see some of my both present and past mentees are here. And sometimes I even forget, not necessarily that I forget, but I'm involved with so many other things that it's like, it looks like I've forgotten about you, right? But it's cool for you to just reach out and say, oh, hello. Don't make the relationship transactional, right? It's not like an exchange of goods and services. It's a mentorship relationship, a friendship relationship. So you can reach out to the person and say, oh, yeah, I'm just checking up on you. I want to know how you are doing, like how is work, how is like your studies and stuff like that. Because if you build a good relationship beyond what currently is going on between you with respect to maybe they helping you out or something, then they are more willing to help you with other stuff, right? And so that's what I want to say. Finally, I just want to say that don't give up, right? Um, we we have many stories to share on this topic, but ultimately the point is don't give up. We've gone through many things. I applied, I got offers, I didn't get funding, and many disappointments along the line. And I had to recalibrate, I had to go again, and I had many offers. So it's not about what caused you to fail or when you failed or how many times you failed. It's about what you are doing now to change that story, right? And I understand some people would say, okay, no, nah, I think grad school is not for me. I want to do something else. That's totally fine. But the goal is for you to be great. The goal is for you to achieve something in life. So even if it's not grad school, even if it's just, okay, I want to be in Ghana and I want to start a business or I want to apply to jobs there, do it and do it well. Because eventually your life in few years to come is going to be dependent on the decisions you make today. So make sure you are making good decisions. That's all. Thank you.
Wow, that's so good. Okay, before we leave, I just want to show you guys my YouTube channel so that you go and subscribe. I know you guys asked so many questions, right? So my channel is basically a hub where I have interviews with other grad students. They are very busy, right? But I try to get them to chat with. So Jude is one of the grad students that I interviewed, and this is one of Jude's videos. So I spoke to him about mentorship. That's what he's a pro in mentorship. So yes, this is my channel and this is my interview with Jude. You can go and watch that about mentorship. I have some about, how to have leadership positions in grad school, how to attending conferences, right? Because when you come to grad school, it's not just about being in class. You have to attend conferences, how to have a balanced life, letters of recommendation. Let me see what else. This is Easter video. Okay, this one is social life, and then this also I also had with another PhD student, Gabriel. So yes, I have lots of videos. This is about grief, right? Sometimes you're in grad school and so many things happen. Your life doesn't stop. Life keeps going, but life, outside. I mean, online, offline, your family on the other side, things could be happening in the family, how to juggle that. So yeah, I have lots of resources that you can relate with, but I think I also have like a few application videos. I'm trying to add a few bit more, but I like talking more about experiences. That's why, um, yeah. So on that note, you are free to leave the meeting and yeah, feel free to stay if you want to stay and ask a few more questions. But we have closed. So thank you so much for joining and have a wonderful time. See you next month for our next session. Okay, bye.
Yeah, thank you all so much for joining. I see Diana, I see Manasseh, Hamadine, and all the others. Yeah, thanks for joining, and I hope this was helpful to you. All the best, and thanks, Jessica.
No
We'll
problem.
see you.
Sure.